There is a different heaven and hell for each person in accordance with the grade of his evolution. What is heaven to one person may be hell to another. A poor man will think it heaven to have a comfortable house to live in and a carriage to drive in. If a king were made to live in the house of a rich merchant with one or two carriages and a few servants to wait upon him, he would think it hell. A click of the tongue is more painful to the horse than 10 lashes on the back of a donkey. This shows that the hell of a horse and of a donkey cannot be the same. There is a story told of a Badishah before whom 4 persons were brought, arrested for the same crime. He looked at one and said, "Hang him." He looked at another and said, "Lifelong imprisonment." He looked at the third and said, "Banish him." Then he saw the fourth and said, "Shame, how dare you show your face to me? Go and never come before me again." The one who went to be hanged killed a few more on his way to the gallows. The exiled one went away and started his trade and roguery still more prosperously in another country. The imprisoned one rejoiced shamelessly with friends in the prison, but he who was exempted from all punishment went home and committed suicide. To him the Badishah's bitter words were worse than a bowl of poison. It is not that God from his infinite state rewards us or punishes us, or that there is one fold or enclosure called heaven in which the virtuous are allowed to be, and another called hell in which all the sinners are penned. In reality, we experience heaven and hell in our everyday life all the time. But here we experience both states, the dream and the physical life. There is always the possibility of change. If we experience hell now, tomorrow it may be heaven. If our experience today is heaven, then there is the chance that tomorrow it may be hell. But when we return from this world of variety, we do not progress in experience. Our heaven and hell do not change much. Let us take first the hell and heaven that each person makes for himself here. When a person does an action with which his conscience is not pleased, the impression remains with him, torturing him continually and keeping before his eyes the agonies that his self experiences. We see in the world people in high positions, in luxurious surroundings, possessed of wealth and power, yet whose evil deeds keep up a blazing fire within them. Sometimes their life shows outwardly what their inward state is. Sometimes it does not, and people think that they are happy, but they themselves find they are in hell. And yet it is partly hidden from their eyes because of the continual variety of their experiences. This is the vague sight of their hell, which they will in the future experience fully. When a person does some deed which his conscience likes, it approves him. It says, "Bravo, well done." His soul is glad of his deeds. In however bad an environment he may be placed, the inner joy still suffices to keep him happy. When by his righteous deeds he has satisfied his conscience, the God within is pleased. However bad his worldly situation may be, he is happy within himself. The world perhaps may deem him unhappy, but he is happier than kings. This is his heaven, and the same experience continues uninterruptedly on the higher plane of existence, which is heaven and hell. Every person creates his own heaven and hell. A disciple once asked his murshid, "Pray, murshid, let me see heaven in a vision." The murshid said, "Go into the next room, child, and sit and close your eyes, and you will see heaven." The murid went into the next room and sat in meditation. He saw in his vision a large area, but nothing else. There were no rivers of honey and seas of milk, nor bricks of ruby, nor roofs of diamonds. He went to his murshid and said, "Thank you, murshid. Now I have seen heaven. I should like to see hell." The murshid said, "Very well, do the same again." The disciple went into the next room and sat in his meditation, and again he saw a large area, but nothing in it, no snakes, no fire, no devils, nor cruel animals, nothing. He went to the murshid and said, "I saw an area, but again there was nothing in it." The Murshid said, "Child, did you expect that the rivers of honey and the seas of milk would be there, or the snakes or the fire in hell? No, there is nothing there. You will have to take everything from here. This is the place to gather everything, either the delights of heaven or the fires of hell." Heaven is the vision of fulfilled desire, and hell the shadow of a soul on fire, says Omar Khayyam. Our self, in reality, is heaven if blessed by divine mercy, and it is our self which is hell if cursed by the divine wrath. The 7 gates spoken of in the Quran are the 7 openings of our senses, through which gates we experience our heaven or hell. And the 7 pinnacles mean the 7 planes of man's existence, which have each its peculiar heaven and its peculiar hell. Things appear to us as we make them appear. If we are tolerant with our surroundings and contented with whatever we have, enduring unavoidable discomforts and inconveniences, and if we acquire knowledge of our being, if we see the divine immanence around us, and if we develop within us the love on which the whole world is sustained, our life becomes a preparation for heaven and our hereafter its full expression. Such is the state of the godly, as it is said in the Quran, "The pious enter therein in peace and security. There shall touch them therein no worry, nor shall they be cast out. If they are covered with rags, if lying on the dust, that dust becomes the throne of Suleiman, and their turban of rags becomes Khusraw's crown." Our discontent with what we have in life, our intolerance of our surroundings, and lack of endurance of those conditions that we cannot avoid, our weakness in giving way to our passions and appetites, our lack of sociability, our ignorance of our true being, and our blindness to the vision of God manifest in nature are the torment of life here and the blazing fire in the hereafter. Heaven is for the pious whose virtues were for this end, and hell is for the wicked who themselves have kindled its fire. The Sufi says, "I am beyond both, happy in the arms of the eternal peace. Neither can the joy of heaven tempt me, nor can the fire of hell touch me, for I have embraced the bliss and have kissed the curse, and have been raised above life's joys and sorrows." Of course, no soul will remain in heaven or hell forever. It is a gradual process of dissolving in the ocean of the eternal being the remainder of the individual being. It is this state which is called pulsarat or purgatory,